Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lindsay. Trying to make weekly videos, but we'll see how 2025 goes. I talk about minimalism, finance, homeschooling, all of the things. So if that interests you, make sure to like and subscribe. Today's video, I wanted to talk about our 10 financial goals for 2025 as a minimalist family of 5. So number 1 would be to fund non-monthly expenses. People, when they talk about their monthly expenses, they normally think about things like rent, water, electric, food, gas, but they don't think about those annual or semi-annual bills. And those are much easier to pay from experience if you make them a monthly bill and then you're not trying to scramble to find a few $100 to cover that yearly bill in July or whenever it comes out. So we have not been great about this in the past. I have gone back between YNAB and EveryDollar several times. I think that they are different methods of budgeting. And so YNAB, which is what we've kind of settled on long term, really pushes non-monthly expenses and funding them every month, treating them like a monthly bill. And so for 2025, I would like to try and fund all of those expenses every single month to try and ease the burden on months when there are maybe multiple annual bills coming out. And so yeah. Number 2 would be to save 3 months of expenses. We do not have a fully funded emergency fund. We actually have reallocated our emergency funds right now to our true expenses, which includes the non-monthly expenses. And I know that might be controversial to a lot of people, but we just found that it works better to go ahead and fund all of our sinking funds, fund all of our yearly expenses, everything that doesn't come out monthly that we kind of just push to the side and don't think about. We've gone ahead and allocated that towards our sinking funds and towards our annual expenses. And now we are going to work on building back up our emergency fund. It made more sense in my mind because we had an emergency fund, but then we were kind of scraping to hit some other goals. And so we did away with the emergency fund temporarily. We funded everything else that we know we have to fund for the year. And now we're going to work on building back up that emergency fund. Number 3, I've already said this, but we use YNAB. And so another goal this year would be to get a full month ahead in YNAB. YNAB teaches to live on last month's income. And so the plan this year is to take our tax return and get a full month ahead. We do typically get a tax return. I know Dave Ramsey encourages you to not have a tax return, but I would rather pay more and get a bigger tax return than to pay less and owe the IRS. I have a degree in accounting, and owing the IRS just seems like the worst possible thing in the entire world. So I refuse. I don't mind if we overpay a little bit and get a slightly bigger refund the next year. And also with being a month ahead, that can also kind of act as an emergency fund because we can always undo that and use that money in an emergency. But I don't like in EveryDollar forecasting what you think you're going to make. It just stresses me out. And then with YNAB, having to wait for each paycheck, but I still kind of have to forecast it to make sure that we're not going over, we're gonna hit all of our goals. And so I think just being a month ahead would take a lot of stress out. And I also think that it would help us save a lot more money. Number 4, this is probably a lofty goal. I don't know if it's going to be attainable, but I would love to stick to our grocery budget this year. The end of 2024, I was trying to be very, very restrictive with our grocery budget because spending the least amount of money possible on groceries is pretty popular on the side of YouTube that I'm on. And it was so stressful and I was always blowing the budget, which made me feel bad. But then I was like, maybe it's just not realistic. We are a family of 5. Even with going over, we're still under the frugal amount that they put out every year, the government. And so one thing that I would like to do this year is to set a realistic grocery budget. Our groceries contain all of our household items, which we don't buy a lot of household items, but it does include laundry detergent, dryer sheets, diapers, which we should be done with diapers this year. It does contain all of that. And so I am planning on setting a realistic grocery budget. If you're wondering, I think we're gonna set it at about $800 a month. Again, we're a family of 5. We have a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And if we're consistently coming in lower, then I might lower it. But I would rather have a little bit extra. We were trying to set it at 550, and I was just constantly blowing it. And it was getting really stressful, and I just don't want to be that stressed out. We have a little bit more wiggle room coming up in our budget in February and then again in April, because some expenses are coming off of our budget that we're not going to pay for going forward. And so upping the grocery budget a little bit still allows us to save a lot of money while not stressing me out so badly. Number 5, this kind of goes along with the grocery, but it would be to eliminate micro shopping. We had this problem a lot in 2024. I would try and spend the bare minimum on the grocery budget, and then halfway through the week, I'm like, I totally forgot X, whatever it was. And we would go and have to go and spend money to go grab that. But then it's like, oh, while you're there, pick up this and this and this. And then you end up having like 3 to 4 to 5 grocery trips that weren't even planned, and at $50 to $75 a pop, that adds several $100s to your grocery bill each month. So we're trying to eliminate micro shopping, spending more per week, doing a bigger grocery haul every week, and not filling in the gaps. Trying to make sure that we're sticking to the list, we have everything we need, and then not micro shopping. Number 6, we would like to fully fund retirement. Right now, my husband has a 401k. I have a Roth IRA. He has a Roth IRA. I think that's it. I also have some non-retirement accounts through Betterment, but we would like to start funding our retirement at least up into the match for sure on his, and then I would like to fully fund my Roth. There's some questions on whether or not I'm going to get bumped in hours, bumped up, not bumped down, bumped up in hours at work. And if I do, I qualify for a 403B. But we'll see. With homeschooling, that's a lot of hours to try and juggle everything. So that's not a for sure thing. But if I do take that on and I get access to a 403B through my employer, then our priorities would be to max out his 401k and to max out my 403B. His is at a 6% match, mine would be at a 7% match, and so that would be a goal for this year. And just as a caveat, I know that these are quite lofty goals for 2025. I'm not saying that I'm going to hit all of them, but we are not sending our kids back to the hybrid school that they have gone to for the last 2 years next year, so that's going to free up almost $1,000 a month in our budget. And then we also have been paying for chiropractic care for my oldest. She's going into maintenance, so we've been paying about $500 a month for her care plan. But starting in February, that's the last $500 payment, and then we pay per visit, which will probably be about $200 a month. So in February, we're freeing up about $300 monthly, and then April 1st is the last payment for our hybrid school, and that frees up an additional $1,000. So we are cutting back a lot on what we're spending on, and so I think that these goals are attainable. We might not hit them all at 100%, but if we hit them all at 80%, like, we'll be a lot better off at the end of 2025 than we were at the beginning of 2025. Number 7, I kind of just went on the rant about that, but that would be to lower our monthly bills, lowering our electric, figuring out a good rhythm for groceries, and trying to not go crazy with groceries. We don't really eat out, so that's not really a problem. Making sure that we're paying the right amount for car insurance, making sure that we're not overpaying for our phone bill, all of those things, evaluating our annual expenses, the things that we're paying for, like if we need to pay for them, if we can find a cheaper alternative, if we can just cut it out altogether, not going crazy on subscriptions, because it is super easy to have 12 subscriptions and be paying for them all. So keeping our monthly bills low. Ideally, I would like to keep all of our monthly bills under my husband's paycheck. And then that way, everything else that comes in, which we do have multiple income streams, everything else that comes in under his main paycheck, above his main paycheck, sorry, everything that comes in above his main paycheck could be saved or done something else with. Number 8 would be, ideally, I would like to have a low buy year. This is trending again on YouTube. There are things that we have to buy this year, and I'm not going to feel bad about buying them. But I would like to have a low buy year, not going crazy on Amazon, not browsing the bookstores, whatever. I don't even know what I spend money on, but I don't spend money on a lot, but I do know that it is very easy for me in certain situations to mindlessly buy some things. And so I would like to attempt a low buy year. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet. If I figure it out and if it's something that I want to pursue, then I might make a video about it here soon. Number 9 would be, I would like to give more. There are multiple things that I would like to give to. We give to our church. I would like to up that. I would like to start giving to the Hope Effect, which is Joshua Becker, Becoming Minimalist. He started a nonprofit and it's called the Hope Effect, and I would love to start contributing to that. I love Leighton Flowers at Soteriology 101. I would love to donate to his ministry. Like, there are just so many things that we would love to donate to, but until we can kind of get our expenses down, our income up, all of these savings goals met, just giving a lot away doesn't seem realistic. And so I would love to be able to give so much. Above, like, I think the average American donates or tithes or whatever the case may be, like 2% of their income per year. And so I would love to be what Dave Ramsey calls outrageously generous. And so working that generosity muscle, it's not always easy to donate or give a lot of money. It's not. But Rachel Cruz always says, give a little until you can give a lot. And so just exercising that generosity muscle, learning to live life open-handed, I would really, really like to be more generous in 2025. And then my last financial goal is to grow this YouTube channel and to grow the income that I make. I got monetized back, I think in September, but you have to hit a threshold of $100 to get paid. And I really wasn't taking YouTube super seriously then. And it took me until December to hit that $100 threshold. So I should be paid in January. It's not going to be a crazy amount. I think that YouTube takes out 30% for taxes. So, but one thing I would like to do this year is to grow my YouTube channel, grow my YouTube income, and be able to save and invest and give whatever I make on here. Anyways, guys, let me know your financial goals down below. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.